Talk about today is finding deals, because finding deals is really essential for real estate investing, and it really comes down to it's a numbers game. In my experience, beginners need to place a lot of offers before they find that first deal. Sometimes as many as 100 offers. Now, it depends if they're off market or on market. It depends on how they're doing. Those off market properties, not even close to that. But I'm telling you this not to scare you off, but because it's vitally important that you figure out how you're gonna identify good deals in a very fast manner, or you're gonna be spinning your wheels frustrating working on deals that really just aren't good, and you're likely to quit. So today I'm gonna teach you how to find great deals fast and identify if it's a good deal or not. That's what we're gonna be talking about today. How to identify deals in 10 minutes or less. That's what we're gonna be talking about today. So we're gonna cover a few things. My secret to finding great deals in less time. The 3 key ingredients for a good deal. The fast way to estimate a rehab, and what I use to make analysis so much easier so you can do that quickly. So how can you do all of this in 10 minutes or less? It's quite an ask. It's really 2 things, okay? How to find properties and how to know if that property is a good deal. It takes 3 things for somebody to want to sell their home to an investor. It's gonna take timing. It's gotta be the right timing. It's gonna need equity in the property, and they're going to need some motivation. That motivation is gonna have to be pretty high. So let's talk about timing first. This is difficult to know when it is time for someone else to want to leave their property. So the best way we can do this is based upon motivation and some of those motivation factors. If somebody's in foreclosure, we have a good idea what their time frame actually is. And so that's one way we can look at it. And equity becomes the second thing we've got to look at. So it's very difficult to make money if the person owes more on the home than what the home is actually worth. So let's talk about a little bit of an example here. The home's worth $350,000 fixed. It needs $75,000 in repairs, and the seller owes $325,000. So that's a difficult one to try and make a deal with. So what are some potential ways we can help somebody if they do owe more money than the property's worth? One of the things you can look at is short sales. If the person is behind on payments, you may be able to do a short sale. For more information on that, you can check out my sales book. It's on a short sale book on Amazon, Most Powerful Secrets of Getting Short Sales Approved. So check that out, but that's not what we're talking about today. You can also do some seller financing. Seller financing in some cases can help the deal if it's a little bit tight, but it's not gonna make a bad deal into a good deal. So that's important to realize. The other thing you could potentially do is list the property. If you're an agent, you may be able to list the property and earn a commission. And if you're not an agent, you can refer it to an agent so they owe you a favor in the future, which could be worth something quite a bit. Now, this means that there's got to be some urgency when we talk about motivation. That affects time frame. How soon are they going to want to do something? So how do we find motivation? Well, we can turn to public data. In public data, public records, we can find if the home's vacant. That could mean that they've got some motivation. Involuntary liens, bankruptcy, out-of-state owners, non-owner occupied, out-of-country owners, pre-foreclosures, failed listings, listings on the market, auctions, bank-owned, high equity, free and clear properties, bankruptcy, divorce, tax delinquents, senior owners, pre-probate, and zombie homes, okay? So let's say you found a potential deal and you wanted to know in 10 minutes or less if it was a good deal. I feel like I should go back here and talk about some of these. So vacant homes, I think we've all got an idea about those. Nobody's living in the property. Typically the post office gets us that information. Involuntary liens means there's a lien on the property that they didn't sign for. So it's something that they didn't want. So it could be a mechanic's lien. It could be any type, it could be utilities, it could be an HOA, anything that's like they didn't sign the loan, but they're still responsible for it. Bankruptcy could be one that shows some motivation. Sometimes you've got out-of-state owners. Somebody lives outside the property, doesn't live in the same state the property is located. You also have out-of-country owners, somebody that lives out of the country. Pre-foreclosures, okay? This is somebody that is behind on payments, but the property hasn't been foreclosed on, so they have a notice of sale or notice of default. Failed listings doesn't apply a lot today. It's something you could take a look at, but failed listings is they put it on the MLS and we're not able to sell the property. Listed on the market. These are properties listed on the market, and you're going to want to use our MLS sniper tactic for these. If you're not familiar with that, check it out. I've got a whole live cast we did on MLS sniper. You can find that on YouTube. Auctions. These are public auctions and private auctions. Public auctions are ones that are happening to the courthouse steps, and then those become bank-owned properties if someone doesn't buy it as an investor. High equity means they have a lot of equity in the property, and free and clear means they do not have a loan on the property. It is free and clear of all loans. Let's talk a little bit about bankruptcy, which I have on here twice. I'm sorry, guys. Divorce. This is a good one if somebody's going through a divorce situation. Lots of times the house is going to have to be sold. It's an opportunity where you can make it happen swiftly and painless, especially if the house is in need of some work. Tax delinquents. This is going to be anyone that's behind on their property taxes. Keep in mind, property taxes are a senior lien position, even over and above the mortgage. Okay, pre-probate. These are ones that they are going into probate. Probate meaning somebody's died without a will or died without direction as to where that property should actually be going, or didn't leave the property to anyone else. So a court's going to make that decision. Those can be very successful as well. And let's talk a little bit about zombie homes. Zombie homes are ones where we have no idea what's going on, but we think it may be an opportunity because it could be vacant. It could have problems with it. It could be something that we're finding on the tax records. So there's a bunch of different things. Okay, so let's say you found a potential deal. You've gone out there and you have found this potential deal. How do you know in 10 minutes or less if it's a good deal or not? So a full property valuation is going to take you 45 minutes to an hour. It may even take you an hour 15 if it's a harder one. You still need to do this, okay? You have to do this, but you do this after you go under contract or maybe right before you go under contract. Just make sure you have good contingencies like subject to inspections. So how do we determine the after repair value in 10 minutes, quick and dirty, knowing we're gonna have to do that again before we purchase the property, as long as we've got some good contingencies in there? Well, what I like to use is what's called an AVM. Automated Value Management System is what it's called, AVM, Automated Value Manager. This is a computerized value. So then I like to look at tax records. In many places, the tax records are very low. You've got to see what that's like for your area. If you could buy a property for tax value, you'd be getting a really good deal. Other places, no, tax value is market or maybe even above market. But you need to know your areas to really make that determination. So next thing we got to talk about is how do I determine the rehab amount? So there's a process to this. You take and look at pictures, use the price per square foot. You make an offer and get it under contract. You meet the contractor and you get a bid formalized on a bid sheet. And for our members, our project managers do virtual tours with you and your contractor and have a pricing meeting. So then you sign an agreement with the contractor, and then at that point in time, you can know how much you're going to be into this. But we're trying to do a 10-minute quick and dirty. That's the process before you're doing this quick, or after you do this 10-minute quick and dirty. This tells you, should I be working on this deal or not? You do those things as your due diligence to make sure the deal's actually good. So we're gonna talk about some down and dirty prices that will help you make some offers on properties. And I find a lot of people are just hesitant on making offers, and you shouldn't be. Make a bunch of offers. Just make sure you have contingencies on those. So if your numbers come back where they don't look good, you pull out of the contract. No harm, no foul. A quick way to get in the ballpark. That's what we're gonna be talking about here. So we're gonna go over square feet. So this is not done with the square feet of what you want done. For example, you're not gonna go measure the square feet of every wall to determine the square foot of paint. What you're going to do is do the total square footage of the house. Meaning, if it was $3, if the paint was $3 a square foot, this is not what you're paying. This is the whole house. So if the house is 1,000 square feet, you'd say it's $3,000. So what gets fixed most of the time in a house is interior paint, flooring, the kitchen, bathrooms, lighting packages, a door package, a demolition, a trim package. Demolition meaning maybe you're gonna make it more open, more wide of a floor plan, landscaping, medium rehab. Let's talk about that. Why these are typical repairs? Because they're the cheapest repairs. It increases the value the most. The property typically sells faster. It will typically appraise for more money. So I look at it at different levels of repairs. I have rental grade, I have light, I have medium, and I have heavy. So those are kind of the different ones. And in my mind, I'm looking at the property and saying, what does this need? Does it need a light? Does it need medium? Does it need a heavy? Is it rental grade repairs? What am I looking to do with that? Now, based upon that, then I can make a determination. So and paint is going to be $2 to $3 a square foot, carpet $2 to $3 a square foot, cleanup $1 to $2, landscaping $1 to $6. So your total is $6 to $14. I kind of average that out at $10. That's going to be my rental repair. So if I have a house that's 1,000 square feet, I'm going to plan on spending about $10,000. But you'll notice this isn't kitchens, this isn't bathrooms, this is just very basic. It's carpet and paint. Maybe a little bit of landscaping, a little bit of cleanup, but that's all you're doing with a rental repair. Now, a light repair, we're doing paint, we're doing carpet, but we're also doing light fixtures, maybe doing a little demo to make the property more open floor plan, and we're doing a little bit of landscaping. So the difference between which we're talking about with rental grade repairs and what we're talking about with light repairs is $10 to $18, but the only difference is really your light fixtures is the only thing we've really added here, and they're at $14. So at $14 a square foot, if I've got 1,000 square foot, I'm planning on spending $14,000. Again, it's the square footage of the house. Now, is that really how they do this? No, this is just a simplified formula to make it a little bit easier for you to be able to do some calculations on a down and dirty, okay? Medium. Let's talk about medium. You're taking the light rehab, the $10 to $18, and then you're adding on a door package where you're doing doors, replacing all the doors. You're adding on a trim package. You're adding on a new kitchen add-on. You're adding in a new bathroom. So that goes to $26, anywhere from $19 to $33. So we're just gonna kind of average mediums at $26. So if your house is 1,000 square feet, you're gonna plan on spending $26,000, and then you'll verify that when you meet the contractor and get his actual bids, and then you can renegotiate or pull out of the contract, or if it looks like a great deal, you continue on to make it happen. Okay, heavy rehabs. So we take the medium rehab of $10 to $18 and we add a new HVAC, we add electric, we add plumbing, we add water heater. So now you're somewhere between $26 and $48 a square foot. So I average that out and say you're probably about $37 a square foot, meaning if it's 1,000 square feet, you're gonna be into it $37,000 on a heavy rehab, okay? Now, sometimes it's a little more and sometimes it's a little less. This is just to get you in the ballpark so you can quickly, in 10 minutes or less, know, is this a property I should be looking to move forward on? And then you'll go in with the contractor later. So let's kind of summarize these different prices. So rental quality, 6 to 14, light rehab, 10 to 18, medium grade, 19 to 33, and heavy is 26 to 48. That's what we're looking at the minimum price per square foot in actually getting the rehab done. Now, to use those averages, a light rehab at 1,000, $14 a square foot is $14,000. Medium rehab at 1,000, 26 is 26,000, and a heavy rehab at $37 is $37. Now, one thing you can do, if you feel like it needs more than just kind of average, you can say, hey, this is a light rehab, but it's gonna be more on the 18 side than the 10 side. This is a medium rehab, it's gonna be more on the heavier side, so it's gonna be more like 33. So you can do that and times that by the number of square footage and make a determination as to what it's gonna cost you in rehab. This is a down and dirty 10 minutes. Please, 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 you're not gonna close on this property till you have a contractor, you've walked the property, you've got bids, you've got it in writing, you've got a contractor agreement, you've done your numbers and looked at your values, but those are things you can do afterwards and then cancel the contract if it doesn't go through or renegotiate. Let's talk about a few problems with this method. If the house is too small, these numbers just don't work. There's kind of this economies of scale. So if it's 850 square feet or less, your budget will tend to be too small. That's really what you're gonna see here. And when your house is too big, like 2,400 square feet or larger, your budget will tend to be a little too big as well. So if it's a bigger house, go lower on the range, and if it's a smaller house, go a little higher on the range. When you're making these determinations, I would use the highest range on the smaller houses, and I'd use the smaller range on those bigger houses. Now, Once you have an idea how much the rehab, then you use a profit calculator. That profit calculator, we use the advanced deal analysis, something all of our members have. So you need to know how much it'll resell for and how much the rehab estimate is going to be. Now, how do you know what it's going to resell for? You're using the AVM. Once you go on a contract, then you're going to do your due diligence and go through a full hour and 15 minutes to determine the values. If you're getting a loan, that lender is going to be doing the same thing. So they're kind of your last line of defense. Now, we're going to do rehab estimates, which originally, if you're making the offer, you're just going to use your quick and dirty price per square foot based upon how much it's going to need. And then based upon that, you'll come up with your estimate. Once you actually have it under contract, you'll be getting your contractor, getting contractor bids, and you'll be using that number. Okay, how much it's going to resell for, how much rehab, how much you're buying it for. That could be how much you want to buy it for or how much you have it under contract for. Now, purchase price just keeps just keep trying that number on the purchase price until you get it where it's profitable. Okay, that's my recommendation. So most people forget about a lot of things like commissions and title fees and transfer taxes and lender fees and agent fees and utilities and property taxes and many more things. Most people forget about that, but you don't forget about that if you're using our advanced deal analysis because those things are all built in. That's why we made this software for you guys to make it much easier to do these things and make sure you haven't forgotten something.